Welcome in, everybody, to BVarsity Live. I'm Zach Ewing, back in the studio here in downtown Bakersfield at the Californians TBC Media offices.
Where you been?
There's Trevor Horn.
Where you been?
I've been everywhere, man. Just call me Johnny Cash.
You've been everywhere.
This is my first show since March 3rd or something. This is like
something
4
like
weeks.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were off for 2, 3, because you went to El Paso. You went to
well, that was in February, but Las Vegas for the WAC tournament, then Oklahoma City for the NCAA tournament. Then we had spring break last week, so we didn't have a show. So it's been it's been a long time. I have to say I feel like a rookie in here. You're gonna have to carry me.
No.
Anyway,
I don't want to. We've got a very much more intelligent young person here that can definitely carry the show better than the two of us combined.
CJ West is here from Garces. She is going to be featured, let's just say, in our girls basketball all-area team this weekend in some capacity. I think it's no secret to say that.
Next weekend.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that all-area section comes out. My brain's already on next week, but that's April, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Friday is soccer. Saturday is wrestling. Sunday is basketball
for boys and girls. So,
Yep.
So CJ, you'll be featured in that despite missing half the season with an injury this year.
Right.
Let's start there. Your senior season, I mean, I know you sort of look forward to it, and it's supposed to be a dream season and everything.
Right.
And it didn't start out that way for you.
Yes, I kind of knew. My injury happened actually sophomore year during playoffs, and I just played with it. And then when I was playing club this summer, it got a lot worse. So
Okay.
I knew that I had to have surgery now, or then it would just, nothing good would come if I didn't have it.
And this was a shoulder injury. So, I mean,
Right.
how do you play with that? I mean, it seems like that would be kind of an important joint there to have.
It was hard because it hurt all the time. The longer I kept pushing off, getting treatment for it, it just hurt worse, but I still played with it just because I couldn't not play. But I had these compression shirts and a brace that was Velcro strapped everywhere, and athletic tape and all that stuff. So it was hard, but I mean, I did it.
And of course, at that time, as a sophomore, you have the pressure of recruiting and all of those things. And so
Right.
you've signed with Cal Berkeley. You're headed up there this summer for summer school,
Yes.
which is very exciting. Your senior year, though, was that more frustrating than you thought? How was that to have to sit out for that period of time?
Well, at first it was very frustrating because I thought, okay, I'm gonna have a surgery and I need this break. I haven't had a break since junior
You were
high, middle
4.
school.
Sure, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I need it. It'll be fine. But then after a couple weeks, I couldn't sleep in my bed because I couldn't turn on my side. I couldn't risk having it to move back or forward or anything. So I was sitting on the couch
man.
downstairs for a week or so, and I just realized, okay, I can't do this anymore. And it had only been a week. So I knew this was going to be a lot harder than I thought. I had to miss practice. I couldn't train for months, and that was horrible. I had to go to all the tournaments that we had and just watch, and that was hard. I felt like I couldn't really say anything. I couldn't really help the girls because I'm not playing, so I
Right.
don't really know. I kind of got past that sort of, but I mean, it was good all in all because it helped me realize how much I love basketball and how much I
that's
need
good.
to have it.
Well, it was that same kind of it was like a complete 180 from last year where you guys had this schedule that Coach Dennison had made before last season where you guys played a lot of Southern California heavies. And you guys did really well. And it really kind of brought you to the forefront in the rankings and kept the season going last year where, here it is, the same schedule, but you guys are doing it and you weren't able to be a part of it, and I'm sure that was painful too, because you knew that here's your senior year, here's another chance to kind of put your staple here at Garces, and you didn't have that opportunity in those big games in December.
Right, that's hard too, but that's just something that, what can you do about it? There's not really anything you can do for it except for help your teammates get better while you're watching. I think it was good for our younger players, like all of our freshmen who are really, really good, but they're just so closed in to Bakersfield and what, all these Bakersfield teams can do. But they had no idea, what these LA teams, Sarah, Bishop, Gorman from Las Vegas could do. So it was just kind of eye-opening, and I think it either made them want to work even harder or just kind of let them know maybe this isn't my thing or something like that. But I think it just helped everyone me to just watch and learn from it, learn how to help my teammates better, and just from everyone else to just learn what you have to do to get to that level.
And you mentioned it. it energized you maybe to be out,
Right.
realized you loved the game, and then I assume you're healthy now too, right?
Yes, I'm 100%. I haven't felt 100% since sophomore year, so I feel really good. But it's weird because in my recovery, I would do things that would normally hurt, but it was fine. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm being careful because it hurts, but I'm being careful because I think it's going to hurt. Because
and mentally,
it did hurt. Right. So that was kind of like an awkward transition of trying to get over.
Well, and evidently the time off helped because, Zach, I know you didn't see a game this year, but she developed a 3-point game. She was draining some threes here and there. It was, I mean, there were some misses, but when you would make them, I went, well, all right. Game over, everybody. Game over, everybody.
I assume you've been working on that longer than just a couple of months, though.
Yeah, my sister is like a really great shooter, so I would always shoot with her in practice whenever we trained together, and I would always practice them in practice, but I just never really had the confidence to shoot them until now. So.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because your dad is here, and he talked about Rachel, your older sister. She's going to be a senior next year, is that right, at San Jose State? She was in town, and he kind of took you guys out to the gym, little practice session, and he said it was maybe the last time that you guys will all be together as a family like that. And obviously you're going off to Cal, and she'll be at San Jose State. Are they on the schedule by chance? Do we know that yet?
They played each other last year for a Thanksgiving tournament. They didn't play each other this year, so they might have it scheduled for next year. But Cal has like a Thanksgiving tournament that they do that San Jose State was in last year. So. Okay. I don't know.
So we can knock on wood about that. That'd be kind of fun because she's a senior, so that's the one chance that we'll have to see that. But as all this is going on, the backdrop of you guys had this unbelievable junior season, at least until the championship game. You came back and Garces was undefeated since you came back until the playoffs again. You're battling the injuries. The backdrop of that against recruiting and playing for club teams and everything like that. How hard was it to juggle, and how relieved were you when you made a decision?
Yeah, it's a lot harder than you think. Sometimes, people who don't do sports, they see athletes getting recruited and they think, oh, it's just an easy thing. You don't have to worry about applications and stuff, but you actually do. And it's a lot of stress when people are trying to schedule calls and visits, and they want to see you and they want to do all these things. And when you're not sure where you want to go, it's a little easier, but when you know where you want to go and you're telling people, well, you
have to say no a lot.
Right. Yeah. That's really kind of complicated. But I knew after I had my surgery and schools were still calling me, I thought maybe, some colleges don't want injured players, or surgeries are kind of like
scares them off.
Right. But they weren't. And so I knew I couldn't keep on waiting. So then I called my coach and I said, I need a verbal right now because it's getting a lot of hand, but it was good.
One of the shortest words in the English language is the most powerful word, and that's no.
It really can be difficult to say, especially.
Really
I'm sure you like some of those coaches and things, and you don't want to, but you can't say yes to anybody but one school, obviously. What was it about Cal? It sounds like you had your heart set on them from quite some time ago.
Right. My oldest sister, Nikki, was born there, so we always go up there on vacations and just hang out. The food's great, so we're always up there anyways. And then Rachel went down there, so that was kind of a little bit better. I'd have somebody closer. But I just in general, I love Northern California. The weather is really great. There's so much things to do. Yes, the school is amazing. #1 public university. I just feel like there's so much diversity that I just would really excel at the things that I like to do.
CJ, was Nikki on staff with Coach Dennison? I can't remember.
No.
So for her being on coach staff, obviously Jesse Soto took over as the head coach this year. Kind of going back to having that time with your sisters. How did that come up? Where she got on staff, and then on top of that, how much fun was it for you to be able to spend so much time with her?
Right. Well, Jesse and Nikki were friends for a really long time, high school and college, and when they were playing at the same time, and so they got really, really close. They all had the same friends, so they were close already. And so when this came up, he didn't really want any help at first, but then he knew that he had to have some help, and so she was just the first person that came in mind. So that worked out really well. And it was really, really cool because I got to play with Rachel senior year, and so I got to have that,
Your
basketball
freshman year,
bond.
her senior year.
Right. So her senior year, my freshman year, we played together, so I got to have that. But me and Nikki never really had a chance to kind of have that connection. So I felt like this was our chance to do that. And I mean, she's just like, her basketball IQ is out of the roof. So like, I learned so much from her, and this was like my chance to be able to just kind of like work with her. Like,
that's awesome that you get that kind of bookend your high school career. I wanted to ask you, when you look back at your career now that it's been a few weeks since it ended, what do you make of your time at Garces?
I loved it. Senior year was honestly my favorite year. I decided to get involved in so much more things, which makes me a lot busier, but I don't regret it at all. But I mean, it's just so much fun how I grow as a person and as a player. I had Todd as a coach and Jesse as a coach. Jesse is an amazing trainer. He knows so much, so I got so much more confidence from him. And Todd is a person, he just helped me be a really better teammate and to just have a lot more skill sets that I could lean on to. So, I mean, it was just great. I mean, all positive for me.
Yeah. CJ, I asked you, I don't know if you remember this, but we had the conversation after, I think, your first playoff game again. And I asked you what really kind of stuck with you. And you talked about a practice last year with a butterfly.
Yes.
Can you go back and kind of relive that moment?
I need to hear that story.
No, you really do. You really do.
Our team last year was incredible. We were crazy and weird, and it was, you could look at us and you could be like, these girls, like, okay, we're going to, like, if an opposing team looked at us running out, you'd be like, all right, we're going to win this. It's crazy. But you'd start playing a couple of minutes and you'd be like, oh gosh, we really have to kind of crack down, because everyone loved basketball. They all wanted to play. Even if they weren't the best, they wanted to play, they wanted to contribute. And that's another thing that helped us out. And we were so close. We were always together, always at school, always together, always sitting next to each other. And Todd, we had a love-hate relationship where we would fight sometimes because I thought something would work out better and he thought something would work out better. We always came to an agreement and a compromise, and it ended up working. And so we were just so close. And one practice, which kind of explains how kind of weird but close we are. We're in the gym practicing, and someone sees a butterfly flying around in the gym. And so we stop. Todd's like, okay, guys, it's okay. It's fine. Just don't even worry about it. And we're like, no, we got to get it out. So we're trying to ease this butterfly out of the gym. We open the doors, and then all of a sudden Todd goes, okay, shut the lights off, shut all the doors, open one door and lead it out. And so we're like, okay. So we do that, and then it finally, after about 5 minutes, it just leads out, and then we all start cheering and screaming, and you see Todd cheering and screaming. And I just love that moment because it's kind of stupid, I guess, but it's just so, it just kind of defines us, how we are as people. Basketball is just something that kind of teaches us how to be better people. And so even if people don't take basketball to college or whatever, it still teaches them something.
I can see Todd frustrated at first and then sort of getting sucked into your attitude of, can we just get on with the practice, please?
Well, not only that, that's Todd going, okay, in his head going, okay, how can I actually end this moment as quickly as possible?
Right.
Turn the lights off.
And as it turned out, it sounds
worked.
like it was kind of a team building thing too. So that's a cool experience.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna have CJ on for 15 more minutes. We got to take our first break, but we'll get to more with CJ West, our girls basketball two-time player of the year now.
Two-time,
and could be three-time next week when we unveil the all-area team.
Yeah,
so
we'll see if that happens. So we'll kind of get to that. We don't want to unveil anything. We've got some great basketball players, obviously. Rebecca Gallus up at Kern Valley, Dana DeGraff and Reed over at Ridgeview, Taylor Madden over at Centennial, Zaria McCollum over at Centennial. So
yeah, I think Rebecca Gallus may have just scored again, just as we were talking right now. I mean,
well, that's all she does. She was in here this week, and I think she was just shooting hoops in her mind because she wasn't listening to anything I was saying, obviously. So.
Yeah, some great players this year. So that's certainly part of it. And one thing, CJ, that we'll take a break here in a minute, but you talked about Nikki and Rachel being kind of bookends of your career at Garces. I also find it interesting just from a Bakersfield-wide perspective. You had that sort of freshman year, senior year, I don't know if it was a rivalry, but with Erica McCauley. I mean, clearly you guys were transcendent players. And now it's going to be the Cal-Stanford rivalry next year. So how fitting is that?
Yeah. That's kind of cool, actually, just to see, what Harvard can do. And, I mean, I learned a lot from her playing against her. It was a rivalry, kind of, but not really. I think it was just more of a learning thing. She was a senior. I was like a timid freshman, not really knowing what I could do or what I wanted to do. And so I just kind of learned from her mostly.
Are we good for a break? No. No, that's okay. We're going to wait on the break. But, yeah, it's interesting because you guys were obviously in different stages of your careers at that point, and she was more stayed out on the perimeter more and all that sort of stuff. Has that changed for you? I mean, do you feel like you are more comfortable outside of the paint now?
Yes, I am. That's what I'm training on right now because I know in college, you know, everything's bigger, girls are bigger, everything's faster and stronger, and you need to be able to, you can't just be defined by one thing. You have to be able to contribute in more than one way, and so that's just what I'm working on getting stronger at.
There's widespread panic in the newsroom right now, but it's okay. We're going to keep rolling in here.
It's widespread by John Farron. That's it.
It's okay. He's contagious. Anyway, have you talked to Erica at all? I mean, it's just to me, it's funny. I mean, obviously now you're going to be conditioned to hate Stanford, and maybe as a Cal fan your whole life you have. But she's also, I would imagine, an acquaintance or a friend of yours too.
Yeah, when I was actually being recruited by Stanford, we talked a little bit. She asked me if I had any questions, if I needed help with anything. So we kind of talked in that respect when I was getting recruited. But yeah, she's just really nice, and I learned from her even now when she's doing really well. I mean, she's got a couple threes in the tournament lately.
Yeah, she scored 27 points against Notre Dame. They beat Notre Dame and then unfortunately lost a couple nights later to Washington.
Right.
But great tournament for Erica McCall, and it's pretty crazy, I think, the talents that Bakersfield's turned out in girls basketball. Going back to Nikki Blue and then your older sisters and then Erica and going on from there. So, okay, I think we're ready for a break now. We will be back more with CJ West right after this here on BVarsity Live.